Thank you for allowing me some time here to give you our joint mobility report. And a couple of things I want to bring up before we get started is the fact that it is a joint mobility report. And what we're going to talk about today has to do with everything we're doing transportation-wise. It will include our road projects, our transit projects, our bike ped projects. This time around, if you have seen your presentation earlier, we're also including the studies that we're doing so the board can be aware of what's coming forward, what's coming ahead, what we're looking at for grant possibilities and those things. So we're going to talk a little bit about studies. We've also included this time around the bicycle and pedestrian improvements. Even though we didn't think they were larger in scope that we should bring them, I think we decided to bring them to your attention so you can see the entire spectrum of the transportation projects we're doing. And finally, we did also bring to your attention some of the smaller operational and safety projects that we're bringing to the county and some of the efforts that our traffic guys like Richard Weinman's shop are doing in some of the smaller projects that are done in a neighborhood-wide basis. So with that said, we're going to start the mobility report here. I'm going to have Paulo speak to you today a little bit regarding grants here at the beginning and regarding some of the studies we're doing with STARS and Project Pipeline and pre-scoping with VDOT, which kind of gets us to the projects that we apply for through our grants program. With that said, let's get started here with a grants update and Paulo going through that a little bit.
Sure. Thank you, Rick. Madam Chair, members of the board, Paulo Belita with the Department of Transportation. Before we get into the exciting mobility projects, I want to give a brief update on our grants. This slide you saw in the last update talked about all the funding programs and projects that received funding over the past 12 months. I do want to highlight the last two, Smart Scale and Commuter Choice. Since our last presentation, those were pending at the time, but now they've been approved. For Smart Scale, we've been approved for $84.7 million for two projects, one at Prince William Parkway and Woodbridge Road for $34 million, and the Route 1 Fraley Boulevard project for $50.8. Another very exciting project we received funding for is through the Commuter Choice program, $2.8 million for the Horner Road expansion project. We're looking to really support transit, support carpooling, and different transit initiatives. We're looking to add additional spaces at that lot, also looking at bus recirculation, making sure our buses can access the lot safely, along with improved bike and ped access. Next slide is just updates on projects and applications pending that we've submitted for funding, and also projects that were not selected for funding. I do want to highlight the three programs that were endorsed today as part of consent. We're submitting a total of 19 applications, 2 for revenue sharing. These are mainly road projects, a 50-50% match with VDOT. We also have the Transportation Alternatives Program. These are really your bike ped related projects. We're submitting 9 total and endorsing 2 as part of that project. These are the projects, for example, that support transit, increase access to bus stops and communities that are disconnected. The other program is MVTA's 6-year program. These are your regional projects, and we plan to submit 8 as part of this program, all due October 1st. With that, I'll hand it back over to Rick.
Thank you, Paulo. I just wanted to highlight that a little bit so everybody understood in here, bringing back to some of the comments that were brought up earlier today by Supervisor Bodie regarding the multimodal aspect of our program. We do try to create a multimodal aspect, and not only by doing and asking for separate projects that are just bike and ped related, but all these projects, except for maybe 1 or 2 that are more operational in nature of our active projects that we'll talk about today, all have bicycle and pedestrian elements included within that project to make sure that we are getting to all the modes of transportation. With that said, we're going to go just over a couple different projects that we did get open. First of all, the OMNIRIDE Western facility was opened up. You see a nice group of people there cutting a ribbon to that building out over there off of Balls Ford Road on Dones. I think it was a great event, and it's opening up the West End for a little better transit service and a little better headways and reliability and a little less deadhead, which is what we call the time that buses are driving up and down empty to get back to the eastern side for service out in the west. So I think this is a great project, great strides forward in creating additional transit in Prince William County. We also did a ribbon cutting just yesterday. And we did this ribbon cutting out on Opitz Road Sidewalk. This is a new sidewalk that connects the library up to the shopping center up in Potomac Town Center in Stonebridge. So it's a missing link piece of sidewalk, and we hope to create another missing link as we get to our our garage project in that same vicinity that we'll talk about a little later. But it was a great event. We celebrated. As you can see, some smiling faces, cutting some ribbon there as well. And finally, we were out west again at Innovation, cutting the ribbon for the Planet Direct building that got opened up there. The reason I put this up here is because we had to complete the access road called Challenger Court out there so this could open in a timely basis. We built this road in about a 6-month period in cooperation with Public Works, ourselves, and our construction crews. So it was great to be able to get this road open and be able to have this building come open on time and have this great celebration. So those are the 3 projects we had some ribbon cuttings on. Now to some of those active projects that I mentioned earlier. And like I mentioned again, all these active projects, although I'll be talking about the road element to it, have a pedestrian and bicycle element to it, either 1 or 2 facilities, depending on the project itself. First of all, the Broad Run Station and Yard improvements. This is a VRE project. Obviously, some of the related projects to us are the Route 28 Phase 3 and some of the Residency Road Trail that we're doing with that project to connect to this project that's looking to be, gets its final design completed later this year. The intersection improvements at University, this is our quadrant intersection. We've run into a little bit of a issue with and challenge with the utilities out here. Nothing we can't get through, just takes a little bit more time. But we are pushing the bids out to come out later this winter. And so hopefully we can be constructing this facility in the spring and still keep to our timeline of fall 2023. Route 28 up here, this is a project being done by VDOT. As you can see, they're putting out the little concrete, making that intersection a little safer. And this should be done. If it's not done already, it's very close to being completed out there on the field. Route 28 Phase 3, this is another project that's about to be completed. At least the road part of the project is about to be completed there. We're going to be inspecting this project here, Supervisor Lawson, with VDOT this month. Hopefully the road improvements are going to be good to go. We're going to be able to open them to traffic. The only thing that we're working through again through the end of the contract, which is June, July of next year, are just the pedestrian and bike facilities. One on Route 28, on the innovation side of Route 28, and the other one on Residency Road, as I mentioned earlier, to hook into that facility for the Broad Run parking. University Boulevard extension. So this is when we start talking about Devlin Road, which is one of our bond projects that we have in our 2019 bond referendum, and we're getting completed with other people's money. But we'll start talking Devlin Road and Ballsford Road here. We're going from west to east. This is the first one, which is the University Boulevard extension, which extends University Boulevard from Edmonston out to Devlin. But at the same time, it also creates the intersection at Devlin and University that will hook into those Devlin Road improvements we're about to talk about, and is the leg that also transitions into the final leg of Devlin out to Linton Hall that we are seeking funds from and remains on the 2019 bond. So you see that's 2 different improvements. This is our revenue sharing project, so it's half being paid by the state, half being paid by us, and we're doing it in conjunction, as I mentioned earlier, as part of a larger set of improvements here. This is the Devlin Road North. So I said we were moving from west to east. So this is, as you see here, let me see if I can, there, oh wow, look at that. As you see here, this is the improvement that I was mentioning in the slide before, and it hooks in to the remainder of the road. This is what we're going to talk about next, which is the Ballsford Road interchange. So this is the road in between those 2 roads, again, going from west to east. This is the one that's furthest behind. We actually were able to get some funding from the leftover funds of the Ballsford Road interchange, but it did lag us behind a couple years behind that project because we did not receive those funds until a couple years after that. The good news about this is the part of the road that was part of the road bond program, and we're able to fund it through VDOT funds. And we're able to construct it. We're trying to get this sped up as quick as possible to have construction ending in the winter of 2024, but with some possibilities going into the spring of 2025 to complete the project. It is a $29 million project, and again, VDOT funds as well as $4 million of CIP funds to complete the improvement. The picture on the right there, it looks like a big spider hand coming at it, but what you see there is a big hose that puts concrete into the grid of the bridge. So basically what they did is they concreted this grid, and we have a whole bridge deck now that's set up there and ready to go to receive the road ends at each end as we did this. This was done in the nighttime, and I was actually there to witness it. It was pretty cool, hanging out with all those guys out there and making sure that we got it done before the sun came out the next day. And it literally took from 7 p.m. one night to 6 a.m. the next morning to complete the project, because we did come into some equipment issues in the middle of it. We were scheduled to be done by 3 in the morning, and it had to be pushed up a couple hours. But the sun did come up, and we were finished concreting the bridge up, so it was good to go here. We're still online to finish the main improvements by November 2022, and we're still in some discussions about the roundabout over at Randolph Ridge and how we deal with that safety improvement. The next one is the Boulevard Road widening on the east side of 234 bypass. This one takes us all the way out to Sudley Road. We are lagging a little behind because we had to build a duck bank as part of this project. And so it's lagging a little behind, like 5 months behind the initial date to be constructed. We have put an incentive in the contract, over $1 million, to see if we can get this done on time. If not, the contract due date would be May 2023. We're in constant coordination with VDOT, so they understand where we're at on the project and what we can get built as we continue to construct the duck bank out there, or finish up with a duck bank out there, and the road widening continues to move forward. So we hope to get it done December, but if not, we will definitely get it done by the May 2023 deadline there. Transform 66, it kind of gets to everything and all the Boulevard, Devlin Road things I just talked about. That was kind of, how it kind of got to be. But this project is still online to be completed by December of 2022. We'll talk a little bit about the park and rides that go along with it here in a couple more slides. Brentsville Road Interchange at the Parkway. We fixed up the picture here so it could be a little more clear, the improvements here. The great thing here is that we've been going through some scope validation, and through that scope, we've determined that we need 3 additional sidewalk and trail connections around the interchange. We take some of the comments at the public hearing into consideration, which asked for those connections, and they seemed feasible, so we have added them. Just so we all know, there's a connection to the north side over that connects to Godwin Drive, as well as a connection to this going south towards 95 on 234, and a connection around the ramp space that will create a sidewalk to the northbound side of 234 going up towards 66. So we have added those to the project, and we're hoping to get a public hearing going on here and get some early grading to start the design build, as this is a design build, and we do some parallel processing here as we build the facility. Pageland right turn lane and signal. Supervisor Canlin has supported this project and funded this project. We are looking to get to construction bid this winter, have it start construction in the spring, and hopefully we will only go through one construction season there, be able to complete it by the end of next summer, and have that light operational and ready by the middle of next year. These are the parking lots that I talked about. This is the one over by Boulevard Road that's looking to open on December 22nd. This is the one that's right next to the new fire station over there that's constructed. Firehouse, I believe it's 22. And it's going to be approximately 1,300 spaces, and that's what our widening of Boulevard is going to be able to support as well. The parking lot over on the 29 side of University Boulevard, that's due to be completed also in December 22. That creates approximately 2,000 spaces, and hopefully again will be finished by the time those express lanes come online. Neabsco Mills Road, we're looking to have this on bid by the beginning of this year in January. We continue to do the right-of-way there and continue to deal with utilities through that area. As you know, this is our federal project, so as we finish things, we still have to wait a few months to get authorizations and certifications that we have completed our phases, because it is a federal project. So if you see a lull out there, Supervisor Angry, it's because of the fact that we're waiting on some of the processing of the federal and state project that we're doing here to get through. But we will be looking to get it to bid and get it to construction this spring. Old Bridge Road, Occoquan Road intersection. Again, this is another federal project through Smart Scale. We're working on the design with this and looking at possible early acquisition of some of the sites that we are looking to fully take and seeing if they have some hardship. This is a federal and state project, so we have to ask those authorizations and permissions from the state, and we're waiting to see if they have determined that the hardship is there. Other than that, we continue to design this project. We're looking for a construction to begin in 2024 based on the work, the cash flow that VDOT gives us for this project. As you know, we got the money ahead of time for design, so we can design it and get some of those issues through. By the time, hopefully, the construction money comes through, we'll be ready to go. Summit School Road, another one of our 2019 road bond projects. This one has been fully funded by the MVTA, though, so we will not be taking out any bonds on this. But we're looking to, we have gotten the design approved, but we're looking to finish up our right-of-way and utility relocation through that area. Supervisor Bodie, as you know, we have a lot of development that's coming up in that area now that they know that the road is coming in, and we're working with all those developers to make sure they got appropriate access to their land. Fuller Heights Road is our federal project we have down by the Quantico entrance. Supervisor Bailey, you know that it is also a federal project. We're lagging about 18 to 24 months behind the Quantico opening of that entrance, but we're trying to get it open as soon as possible. We have acquired all the right-of-way and certified that we got so we're looking to bid this project out as well this winter so we can get working on it in the spring of next year. We're hoping for a one-year time frame in construction. It might be a little longer right now. That's what we're hoping for. We'll see what we get with the bids so this project could be done in April of 2023. Quantico Station improvements, those are ongoing right now. The improvements to the station are happening, and it's about a 26-month construction schedule. Some of the related projects you see there is the third track over there from Markendale to Powell's Creek, and then also the future fourth track through this area. Fraley Boulevard widening, the widening through Dumfries here. We continue to work with VDOT in getting what's called an ELUP, or an extreme land use agreement with them, so they can review the project, make sure it's acceptable, and they're able to accept it at the end. We are also we also have released an RFP to do the right-of-way. As you know, Supervisor Bailey, this is a very right-of-way intensive project, over 100 parcels, so we're doing an RFP just for those services, as well as some utility testing and some geotechnical that will come from that same contract. But we're putting that all together, and we hope to get someone on board by this fall to be able to start that process this winter. Van Buren Road environmental study. You know we're doing the EIS here. We had a meeting regarding update to this project. They're starting to do some of the survey out there and some of the areas that they can get in to be able to get some of the information on some of the environmental, social, and noise impacts that we have out there. We're looking to have a lot of that information readily by this winter. Some of the information, though, because we have missed some timelines on when those tests could be done because we couldn't get on certain properties. We will have to do those tests at the beginning of next summer and have the results for you then. But we are hoping to have, once we get those results, the study completed by the end of next summer for you. We will be looking to have some public hearings and additional public meetings. As you know, this is a very well looked at project, and we have a lot of people that are interested in the results of this study. The 95 Express Lane opens Boulevard's ramp. This is the first time you've seen a design of it, but what this is, it's a ramp that opens during the, as you see in the second bullet, on the northbound operations. The ramp will provide access to Opitz from the south, so people can get into that area, the Potomac Mills and Potomac Heritage area, and also use the new parking facility that's being developed in front of Stone Ridge. And then at night, it turns into a southbound direction going south on the express lanes as those express lanes operate at night and allowing people to leave from the Park and Ride facility or the Potomac Mills and Potomac Town Center area. The anticipated public hearings coming up next month. They'll be setting that up, and we'll be able to comment on the project. It has been done in coordination with us because it is close to our Park and Ride facility, and we have made sure that it includes sidewalk connections to the facility that we are creating on the north side of Opitz Road. The I-95 southbound auxiliary lanes, I know you see some of that work being done out there. We're hoping that that's done by the fall next year, and I think that will be a big traffic reliever for that area, at least on a temporary basis, because it'll extend that lane and it'll give a larger transition. So hopefully if it doesn't allow for additional volume, at least it'll allow for better operations and a little more safer transition onto the main line lanes of I-95. Potomac Neabsco Mills Commuter Lot. We've talked a lot about this project. You see the current design on there. We're working with the designers on some final details of the proposals and some final things that we'd like to see on there. I have been told by procurement that we are looking for price proposals on October 1st, and we will make that determination, bring that back to you hopefully by the end of this year, beginning of next for award on this project. This is a federal project, but we are going to do it as a design build. So as soon as we get the award, we'll be able to start looking at some ways to start the construction or clearing out in this area. North Woodbridge Mobility, this is actually the Annapolis Way, part of North Woodbridge Mobility Improvements. This is Annapolis Way, which was a project that was put into the MVTA, but wasn't supposed to be funded until 2026. But we put in for early appropriations, and we were able to receive those. I know Madam Chair Wheeler was going to be voting on that as part of Finance Committee in the MVTA, and was able to make that happen. So we were glad to get those $8 million to be able to bring that project forward and get that project completed before we were even supposed to get the money. So we're excited about that, and we're hoping to reach that goal. Route 1, Featherstone and Mary's Way, if you drive down that road, you know it's under construction. We have a lot of construction activity going on in many different areas. The only thing I ask Supervisor Franklin or Chair Wheeler or anybody on the board, if you have a high-level contact at Comcast, we really need that last line put in underground so we can do some of the work out there. It's one of the things. I have gotten some contacts from Christine at Economic Development. We'll be reaching out to them, but anything you can do to help us out there, to talk to someone at Comcast about getting that last line in, it would be more than appreciated. A lot of times we lag because of utilities in these projects, and it's because we don't have control of them. They come in and do the projects, we pay them to do them, but it's usually at their schedule. This is the last one we're looking for, so we'll be looking to move forward and get that construction complete and get in touch with Comcast as needed. Route 28 bypass, we are in the middle of negotiations. Not in the middle, we're towards the end of negotiations. We will either be bringing an item to you October 5th or October 19th to look for the awarding of this contract, depending on how we negotiate. We have a meeting with the consultant, the chosen consultant, WSP, to do some final negotiations on Thursday. If we can get to a final price before the item is due, we'll get it in October 5th. If not, we will come back to the board, if we cannot finish that, on October 19th to let you know how we did there on that project. OMNIRIDE Commuter Choice. The next few slides are going to be regarding OMNIRIDE and some of the efforts they're putting forward. This is the applications to MVTC to continue operating the Commuter Choice grant, and you see there what they've done and what it continues to fund, and the new commuter service that is being offered from Stafford out to DC now. The next one is the operating enhanced service to Eastern. This is the Commuter Choice again. This is the benefit for the $200 parking benefit for van pools, as well as a supplementary $400 monthly to try to get these van pools up and going again and get these other modes of transportation moving. Hopefully the people are starting to get past the COVID era, but we continue to work and be careful with it, and you'll see some of the stuff we're doing with VRE as well on that. Some other grants, the TANF, the TANF grant is active and will run through 2022, and the mobile ticketing grant was awarded, and I think that PRTC is working on looking vendors to demonstrate some of those products. The zero admissions bus study, they're continuing to work on that. They're looking to finish that up mid-time next year and start evaluating some of the vehicles that are identified as part of that study to see what we can do there in getting to zero admissions by our transit vehicles. Finally, we're also looking at the Business Council, the Van Pool Council, and the Hispanic Council, who all met on the dates listed there, some of the stuff they're working on. The Hispanic Council, which I'm a part of, is working on focusing some of the messaging and focusing messaging on some of the Hispanic communities in the area to make sure they're getting their messaging correct about using transit and their opportunities in using transit. I mentioned the VRE COVID response. They continue to look at this. Obviously, they have right now, they're talking about 1,379, about 1,400 people, daily riders on their system. And they continue to monitor these loads as they continue to make sure that the trains are clean and effective and available for people to ride. Like I mentioned earlier, we're getting a little bit into outside of active projects and talking about some of the studies that we're doing. We're working on some STAR studies, something called Project Pipeline, which VDOT has started doing, which looks at corridor-wide improvements that we're part of, and also some pre-scoping studies for some of the future smart scale and MVTA grants we're looking for. I'll let Paulo speak quickly to some of these projects that they are looking at here.
Sure, thank you, Rick. Quick update. So in this slide, we have the VDOT STAR study. This study looks at innovative approaches to our standard mobility designs. So we have the 123 STARS study. which looks at improvements at Old Bridge at 123, 95 at 123, and 123. The good news at the 95 123, last week, the Commonwealth Transportation Board approved $69 million for improvements at that interchange. So more to come on that. The other STARS location is at 234 Business. We're looking at safety and operational improvements. The 123 studies will wrap up and be completed by the end of the year, whereas the Sudley Business will be completed early next year. Rick mentioned the pipeline studies. These are the corridor-wide studies. We just had a kickoff meeting with VDOT recently. The two corridors we're looking at, Prince William Parkway between Smoketown and Keaton Hill Road, as well as Route 29 between Route 15 and Linton Hall Road. So we're working with VDOT to look at safety and operational improvements at these locations. This will be completed early next year. Other similar studies, these are pre-scoping studies, looks at development for concepts or feasibility of new projects. The three new locations we have, improvements at Dale Boulevard and Mainville Road, to see what kind of intersection improvements can be implemented. Looking at extending Marina Way in North Woodbridge, to see the feasibility of that connection, as well as a park and ride feasibility study on existing Route 28 corridor. These are just examples of the different studies that are ongoing, which really help some of our grants applications. The more developed grant applications we have, the more successful they become as we move forward. I want to hand it back over to Rick for bike and ped improvements.
Thanks, Paul. And again, I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention because I wanted to make sure that you knew what was in the pipeline, what we're looking at as a department in all the different corridors, and what we will be bringing to your attention as some of these studies start developing, getting some results, and we'll be bringing those to you to make sure you're aware of what we're looking at, how we're looking at it, and what VDOT, because again, these are all in coordination with VDOT. These are all being done by VDOT consultants and VDOT staff, but the county has a very good seat at the table where we're very cooperative with them in making sure they understand the needs that we have, not only transportation-wise, and some of the things that I think VDOT lacks in looking at is some of the land use decisions and some of the things we have going on around our community that they are not aware of, that it goes beyond the throughput. So we'll be talking a little bit more about those studies, especially with each individual board member that the studies affect in each district, and we'll be making sure that you get to be part of the seat at that table as well and get your opinion into the studies. We will also be informing the Planning Commission of this as they are getting informed of some of the stuff, and they're asking to get informed of some of the stuff that's coming their way or that we are looking to come our way for grants. We will be speaking to them and making sure that they are aware of some of these studies as well. The last thing, or last couple things I wanted to get to, like I mentioned earlier, that I usually do not have on this report, are some of the bicycle and pedestrian improvement projects and some of the operational improvement projects. And I won't go through any of them, but as you see, we are in looking to get into bid with a lot of these, especially these three here, in the next couple months, or have gotten a bid and are waiting to be able to move forward. These are very important sidewalk project connections that connect you to transit, as well as connect communities and facilities that are needed. Old Bridge Road Sidewalk, and we continue our effort to get Old Bridge pedestrian and bike facilities on both sides of the road. Gemini Way pedestrian improvements in Dale, this is a very important project. Before we started, there was a goat path on the right side of that road that led all the way up to the shopping center and commuter lot. So we're very excited to get this project going and moving. Mill Street crosswalks that we're working with the town of Occoquan to improve. Old Carolina Road out in Gainesville, and making sure we get that project and out to bid and get that project advertised this fall. Lucasville Road sidewalks, I think that our construction crews are going to be doing that piece of sidewalk to make sure that we have a community connectivity through there. And then finally, last couple, Godwin Drive sidewalk. County Forces will be doing the coordination as part of the Lucasville to do this one as well. And finally, we have another piece of Old Bridge Road, but this is a newer piece. We just started the design on this, so the bid's going to be out a little later. We're looking to have a kickoff meeting and then be able to bid this out probably next year or so. With that said, some of the smaller operational improvements, and again, I don't want to go through, oops. There you go. Through all these improvements, but I'm sorry, I have lost control here. There we go. All right, small operation improvements. First of all, we're doing a study for access management out in the east end through the Prince William County Parkway. This is being done with local funds and is scheduled to be completed next summer to talk about how we have better access and operations throughout the Prince William County Parkway in the east end of the county. Innovation Park Streetlight Project, what you see there is on what's existing on your right-hand side, all the way at the top corner there, and then how we expect it to look after we light up the intersections at the area. All this is getting the innovation area into DCSM, or Design Construction Standards of lighting the area, and we're making sure that we light all the intersections, and some of them are being done actually with the Quadrant Interchange project that we're doing out there and at those intersections. So we're very excited about getting all those street lights in place by hopefully the end of this year. We're going through, I talked about the management study. We're doing a gap technical assistance project that we got some funding for. We're doing traffic calming speed studies. You see the number of studies that were completed just between January and June. So in half a year, we've completed 40 studies county-wide through this. So we got Richard and his guys working really hard, believe me, and his gals. Also we've been installing speed tables, as you can see there. Been working with the town on their quiet zone and seeing how we coordinate there with Supervisor Canlin's office. Rollinsford Road and doing the restriping there. We've gotten the funding to do that as part of our safety budget, and we'll be doing the restriping out there, which is going to go great with the Braided Stream Rollinsford flashing warning signs that we got money from VDOT as part of the signals that we had. I know that the board received a memo from myself and the CXO regarding that we got funding for 3 additional signals, and one of those projects, the 4th project, was that the installment of those signs. So we're excited to put those together, and Richard's group will be implementing that as well. We talked about the 3 signals. The 3 signals that VDOT will be funding are listed up there. We know Queens Chapel Hoadley Road signal very well. VDOT will be implementing that project. That's going to be the priority project to implement, and they're aware of that. What they're hoping to do is they're hoping to get the design done by the end of this year to have that signal operational and completed by the end of next year. So that's what we're looking at time frame. That's going to be the first one, hopefully up of this group of signals. We as a county, we're looking to get a signal construction on-call contract with our guys and look to my guys to do this so we can finish up and implement the other 2 signals plus some signals that are being done by the construction crew as well as part of some Quantico improvements. Our county streetlight program, I won't go through this, but you see the amount of work that the streetlights do. We maintain all the streetlights in the county. We talked a little bit about the streetlight project we're doing at Innovation, and then the installation of all these streetlights as well as the conversions and the maintenance that we've done in the last year. Finally, county road maintenance and state acceptance program. We are looking to do a couple projects with some monies that the board gave us last year to get some of these streets into the state system and get them off of our payroll of having to maintain these streets. But also had to do some road maintenance in some of the streets that the county still does own as part of University Boulevard and Industrial Court there got done. And then finally, we're looking, Hanson Lane cul-de-sac, and we're currently completing that to get that into the state system. But again, just wanted you to be aware of everything that our department is doing that's getting not only streets into the state system, but those smaller projects, those major sidewalk projects, as well as the major $100 million interchanges and road windings that we do. It is a big scale from $500 to $300 million, and we do all the work in between that. So we appreciate your support that you have for us as we move with these projects, all the support you give us as we come here in need of your approval for the contracting, the right-of-way, the approvals of all these projects we are. But that is your transportation program in a 55-page slide.